Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. It's been a little while since my last one, so let's get straight into it. This week we're doing fried chicken. To make really good fried chicken, you need to adopt a three-stage process. That's a marination, the seasoning flour, and then the frying itself. With these three steps, you can make really good fried chicken at home very easily indeed. So when it comes to the marinade, it's really down to you as to what you use to season the chicken. It's a blank canvas to take on all sorts of different flavours. I've gone for a simple mix of salt and pepper, paprika, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, and then for the wet ingredients I've used some hot sauce, some soy sauce and some buttermilk. So once you've added all the ingredients, combine them all together and make sure that they fully coat the chicken. This liquid is going to become the binder for your seasoning flour later on, so you want to make sure that the chicken is completely coated so that seasoning flour sticks really well to the chicken later on. With the chicken marinating, we've got plenty of time to clean down and then get our seasoning flour set up for when we're ready to fry later on. So typically for a fried chicken batter, you just want to use plain flour and then season that generously with more salt and pepper, perhaps more paprika, garlic powder, or whatever other spices that you're using. But what I really like to do is to add cornstarch as well, in equal quantities with the flour. I find that this gives it a crunchier, more crisp coating. Making sure the chicken's fully covered in the marinade, transfer the chicken one piece at a time into your flour mix, keeping one hand wet and one hand dry so things don't get too messy. And then once the chicken's coated, set it aside on a tray and continue with the remaining pieces whilst your oil comes to temperature on the stove. Giving the bowl a shake first to cover the chicken in the flour prevents your dry hand from starting to get covered in sticky bits of flour. Whilst you're doing this process, it's a good idea to get your oil hot and ready to go. Use a really heavy bottom pan if you've got one, because that's much safer, it's not going to get knocked off the stove, and it's also going to hold the heat that much better, so your oil will hold at a more consistent temperature. Now if you don't have a probe, that's not a problem. In this case, just use a wooden chopstick or a wooden spoon and dip it into the oil. If it's hot enough, when you dip in the wooden spoon or chopstick, it'll start to bubble vigorously around the wood. This suggests that it's hot enough to start frying. Lower the chicken in one piece at a time very carefully, laying it away from you into the oil so you don't get any splashback. You can probably add 5 to 6 pieces, perhaps a bit more, depending on the size of your pot, but make sure that the oil doesn't come up anywhere near the rim of the pan. Now the chicken is ready when it reaches an internal temperature of around 72 degrees Celsius. I found that cooking the wings to 8 to 10 minutes until they're a good dark brown was more than enough time to reach this temperature and exceed it, and the chicken was delicious and tender. For larger pieces, you want to work between 18 and 20 minutes to get it fully cooked. If you're unsure that the chicken's fully cooked or you don't have a probe to check the temperature, just cut into one of them and make sure that the juices run clear and there's no visible blood inside. So that's it, fried chicken done and dusted. It's delicious, everyone will love it, and I'm sure this is something that you'd want to introduce into your cooking repertoire at home. Next week we're going to be making a Bakewell tart. I've used some of the blackberry jam that I used in a previous video, so check that out, it's linked above now. In the meantime, head over to my website www.oscarschumacher.com to find this recipe and many others, and some blog posts which go in a bit deeper into ideas and thoughts I have around food and the food industry in general. So thanks for watching, please hit that like button, do subscribe, and see you next week.